It's been 5 years since government changed the policies on dual agency. My name is Sergej from neuHouzz team, and today I got another phone call, potential buyer asking me if I can show my listing. And I said, yes, I can, with a couple of things. Now, in January 2018, the government eliminated dual agency within British Columbia, meaning that the agent cannot represent buyer and seller in the same transaction, with a few exemptions. If that's a small village, small town where there's one or 1.5 agents in total, then yes, very likely that the agent still can offer dual agency in that case. But like I said, there are very specific few exemptions when it's still applicable. However, in the bigger cities like South Okanagan, anywhere or anywhere else in BC, there's lots of agent professionals out there, and therefore everybody should have their own representation. And that's the main reason why government changed that policy and said that an agent needs to represent either one or the other side. And that's understandable, because whose interest otherwise you're working. We have seen some buyers and sellers choose to go unrepresented, and that's their own prerogative for whatever other maybe handful of reasons that they want to do that. We have seen that, we experienced that, and it is happening. But what happens when the buyer says, can you show your seller's listing? And I would say, absolutely, I can. Just please remember, I'm working and representing the seller at the moment. I'm going to show you the listing, and I should be showing because I know the property best. That's what's up. I do know that property best. I've been through it. I crawled in all the corners and nooks, and I know a lot of information about that property. So it is a great way to get to know the property with a listing agent. Now, however, there's probably a couple of questions that I won't be able to answer, and that is for privacy protection and confidentiality of my clients, of the sellers. And every agent will remember that. And that is, let's say if there's a buyer who's asking, what's the reason for selling? Well, what's the motivation for selling? Very likely, if there's something really specific, why the seller, maybe they are ill, maybe it's a divorce, those things very likely not going to be shared. And that is because it's going to compromise the position of the seller. Also, what is the lowest price that they're going to take? A potential buyer might ask. That is something that, number one, I'm not able to tell you, but mostly for the second reason is because often we don't know. Sellers don't just go and tell us exactly what they're going to take, the least money they're going to accept for the property. That is not how it works, and therefore we don't know. So we're really honestly going to say we don't know. The best course of action is to discuss it with your agent, then move forward, put in the offer, and then you'll be able to negotiate between two parties. So that's the couple of things to keep in mind. Now, of course, what are the options then for that buyer who's inquiring on my listing? Well, typically what I'll tell them is that they have a few. Now, they can go ahead and they can ask their mom and dad or brother and sister, or family member, and get a recommendation. They can grab a yellow white pages or yellow phone book and pull somebody out of the hat and work with that agent. However, what I've been doing and what many other strong listing agents would have been doing in our office and in other brokerages, they typically be able to recommend a very strong, prudent professional to that potential buyer to get a hold of. And that is because as a strong listing agent, you want to make sure that the buyer who's making an offer is a smooth process for my clients as it can be. That means that contract is discussed with the buyer, that realtor that got recommended, the professional that was recommended to the potential buyer, they discussed the nuances of the contract. They walked through all the details. They organized everything. So when they fire that first offer, that is all seamless. And then negotiating process can begin between the buyer and the seller, and the agents can step in and guide each party to suit their needs. So that's why the reason we have a handful of strong, prudent professionals that we can always put our people that we showed our listings to, we can recommend them to those folks, to those strong, prudent, professional realtors. Of course, guys, you can always make a phone call and bring your own agent who you want to view the property, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes we facilitate the showing to those buyers with their agents. That is totally okay. But hopefully you have better understanding now about dual agency. Absolutely, a listing agent can show you the property. Just be careful of some nuances and information that you share. And you don't want to also hold your cards close to your chest, because everything you say can be used and held against you against you once the time comes to negotiate. So don't open up your cards to the listing agent as well if you're one of those buyers who likes to call listing agents and view the properties. But I hope this information was helpful. If you ever need any info on real estate, give us a phone call at neuHouzz, and one of our agents will be able to shed some light on all those interesting intricacies and questions that you might have about real estate world. Until next time, take care of yourself and be well. Bye.